Welcome back, guys, to episode 5 of A Woman's Point of View. Today, I always got a special guest, but today is a very, very, very special guest because this is someone who I looked up to growing up in terms of all aspects, whether it be fitness or just life in general. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. So who have I got with me today?
So today you have Natasha Sims. And just to clarify, the reason why I think I am the special guest is because I am your big sister.
Yeah.
So in summary, I'm Darnell's big sister. I am his second sister, and there is 15 and a half years between us.
So that's definitely why Natasha was a role model to me, because when you was that age, I was still very young. So we're going to dive into all aspects today, and today's going to be a very good one. So to start off with, we always do a quick fire round. All right. So quick, you got 5 seconds to answer these. So first question,
Okay.
AM or PM sessions?
AM.
AM, upper or lower body?
Upper.
London or Barcelona?
Oh my God, Barcelona. I feel bad saying that, but it's Barcelona.
I would even say Barcelona. I don't even live there.
That was a tough one.
Home or gym sessions?
Home.
Dancehall or reggae?
Reggae.
Reggae. I thought you'd say that, to be honest. Nights in or nights out?
Nights in.
Nights in.
Yeah, I like it.
Cardio or weights?
Cardio.
Cardio. Okay. Perfect. So that's the quick fire round.
Cool.
So let's hear a bit more about you from, let's take it all the way back before I was even born.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. It did more or less start, before you were born. So I would say for me as a child, teenager, I loved food. I love food a lot. And I think in our family, we love all different types of food, but I especially had a really strong liking for sweet food, cakes, chocolate, biscuits. So because when I was younger, during my teens, I ate a lot of that type of food. I would say I was overweight for my age. So I went through most of my teens being overweight. And actually during my teens, I used to get teased for being chubbier compared to my other friends. So I was always very self-conscious about how I looked and the fact that I was overweight. But for me at that age, I was a bit of a spiral. Okay, I want to lose some weight, I want to get fit, but I just ate more junk food. Then as I matured through my teenage years, I remembered when I was 17, actually, I got a kidney infection. And the reason why I got a kidney infection was because I didn't drink enough water.
I didn't know that.
And that was a massive wake-up call for me because I was like, I could have prevented that by myself. And because of my habits, that's what caused me to have the kidney infection. But again, I was like, okay, yep, wake-up call continued. And at that time, I was working at McDonald's, so that just increased my amount of junk food. Then at that time, I was dating a guy, and he was very much into health, fitness, and promoting healthy well-being. So he did encourage me, and I remembered it was in my early 20s. I was 21, so it was 2001, and he was like, "Oh, why don't we start going to gym, exercising more?" So I registered at Atherton Gym, and I remember the first time I went there, I had my induction session on the machines. But after that, I was like, you know what? I can see myself coming here often, and I really want to do something about the weight, because for me, I was like, the reason why I'm in this position is because of me, and I think I can do something about it. So back then, I didn't really have like a set routine. I thought, I'm just going to go to the gym, do a bit of cardio, a bit of working out. Then when I noticed that the pounds are falling off, I thought, oh my God, this is really great. Like, it spurred me on to lose more weight. So when I started at the gym, I was 70 kg. And by time, after 6 months, I went down to 60 kg. And again, everybody around was really inspired. They were like, wow, that's really, really great. And I felt good in myself. So what I did is I just continued maintaining my exercise regime. Then I got much more focused about like developing my own exercise plans, changing my food, my eating. And again, I did all of this on my own back, using, again, the support of my boyfriend at the time, but also, again, doing my own research and knowledge. Then I would say that as my fitness greatly improved, because I maintained this consistency throughout my 20s, when I got to like my late 30s, that's when I took up running. So I thought, okay, I want to do something a bit more intense that's really going to push me. And I took up running in my late 20s, and then I did various half marathon, lots of 10Ks, And I did the Brighton Marathon, which I would say was one of my biggest running achievements in my early 30s.
So where are you at right now? Just so briefly, because we're mainly going to touch on that, but just so briefly, kind of where you at right now. What's the situation like right now?
So the situation for me right now is that, again, I kept up with the running. So actually, during my 30s, actually, after I did the marathon, I was really pushing myself like hard, like pushing myself with the running. And also at this point as well, I really had a really strong interest in fitness and exercise. So at that point, that's when I decided that I want to take this even to another level. And that's when I decided to study and become a qualified personal trainer. And at the same time, professionally at work, I was also then training to become a qualified project manager. So I was doing all of my Prince 2. If people know about project management, you do the Prince 2 qualification. So I had quite two big, heavy, I would say, career paths going on at the same time. And then after I achieved both of those achievements, then my body just crashed. Literally, like my body was like, we need to stop, we need to rest. Like, you've really pushed yourself. And then I went through a period of time, and it was back in, I would say again, more in the 2000 range, where my body's like, we need to take some time out. And it was that bad actually, when I had the burnout, that I just had to stop all forms of exercise and just focused on myself. But the benefit, I would say, and the positiveness of having that burnout, that it really made me check myself. And by that, it made me check myself in terms of how I'm treating my body. Even though it's great to exercise and to keep fit, there needs to be a balance. Sometimes even how strict I was with my food. Again, making sure I was incorporating all different types of food groups in the right ratio. So that burnout for me was a massive wake-up call. But as part of my recuperation, I decided to do a walk, which is called the Camino to Santiago. So it's a walk that involves you walking it starts in France, in Saint-Jean, and it involves you walking through part of France all the way into Spain, into Galicia, into Spain. When I did the second part of my Camino, that's when I met my husband, my Spanish husband, Jose. And then as a result of that, we were dating, etc. And again, at this point as well, we were more focused on long distance walking. And that's what really gave me the passion to get back into exercise again. And then I moved to join my husband 7 years ago. So I moved to Barcelona, Spain. And again, the climate there, the weather there, it really makes it so easy just to be outdoors doing sports. So it allowed me again just to maintain general level of fitness, nothing strenuous, but again, more focus on long distance walking. And then a couple of years later, we had our daughter Alicia. And then after having my daughter Alicia, that's when, because when you're pregnant, you gain weight naturally. So I went up to the end of my pregnancy, I was at 80 kg. And then after I had her, I decided that, I really want to, again, build up my fitness and be strong again. Because when you are pregnant, it affects your body heavily. Like, all women are different, but the fact that you are creating and carrying a human life, that baby is sucking a lot out of you. So after I had her, I really want to focus on building myself up again and building my strength back again. So this is when I moved to home workouts. We had a home treadmill, and I took up the kettlebells again, because as part of my PT, I was doing kettlebells. Took up the kettlebells again. And then a year after I had Alicia, I started getting back into the running again. So more or less at the moment, I'm running anything from 20 to 40 kilometers a week. That's just like my standard exercise regime at the moment, along with doing some strength training as well.
Cool. So just a few questions going back. Why did you get the personal training qualification? Was that to educate yourself, or did you actually pick up clients? I actually don't know at the time when you qualified.
So the reason why I did it is because I was so at that point in my life, I was so absorbed, so engrossed into personal fitness that I wanted to educate myself even more, but I wanted to spread that love with other people. So I did it for two reasons. But I also wanted, by me sharing, I also wanted to coach and mentor other people, but do it in a professional and in a compliant way. So that's why I did the personal training course. And at that particular time as well, I was part of a really big church in Walthamstow. And people knew at church that I was qualified. So that's how actually what I was training was people at church. I was training the other sisters, mainly at church. I was meeting up with them on Saturday mornings. Some of the ladies at church, I had special particular requirements for things I wanted to focus on. So I remembered one lady in particular, She used to run, but she wanted to get back into running. So we had that in common. You know, I worked out a fitness plan for her as well. So she was one particular client that I had. I had one client that was just starting from scratch and from basics. So it was really just about, and at that time she had 4 children and she wanted to have a plan that she could do around managing day-to-day life with her kids. So I figured out a plan and worked with her on what type of plan we could do based upon her availability. Those are just 2 examples, but they were mainly people that I knew from the local community in my church.
So how do you, as a mother, train with 4 children? Because for the people watching, having one child alone is very busy along like your work life and things like that. So what do you advise someone that's got multiple children? Like, how do you actually fit that in? Would you recommend? Because you've done it, you're going through it at the moment actually.
So I would recommend a couple of things. One thing I did with Alicia a lot with my daughter was incorporate her into my routine. So if you've got, again, it depends upon the age of your kids. But what I would say, let's say if you have a baby, then I would say, let's say you've got 4 kids, okay? You could have a kid on a scooter. You could have one in the buggy. You could have 2 that are walking with you. So you could take a nice long walk and you could do it that way. Or again, even if your kids I would say are an age where they can participate in running, you could do a family run, a group run, because today there were so many more events that are more family centric, where again, you can all participate together. What I did with Alicia was when she was a baby, where I live in Barcelona, we have this nice long riverside, and it was nice and smooth because with a buggy, you're just pushing the buggy, and I used to run with her in the buggy.
And I've actually seen it even when you used to come to London when she was younger, you used to do it. So
yeah, I even did it here in London, and people are like, oh my God, like you're running with a buggy. Like, yeah, why not? Like, I need to get my exercise in. Well, I would also say another tip that if you don't want to incorporate your kids into running, it's all as well about finding the support network to allow you to free up the space to do the routines. So for example, like on the weekends when my husband isn't working, and in the case of this particular client that had 4 kids, one day a week, it was her husband's responsibility to get the kids ready for school, get their bags ready, and she'll be at the gym. So it's about, I use the expression, divide and conquer as a family, making sure you carve out the time as a family to make sure that somebody gets a piece of their cake.
Yeah.
And they get the time for themselves to do it. So it's as much as, again, being a working mum or again, being a mum full stop, it's all about finding the opportunities, but also helping your family support you in making those opportunities become a reality.
And I think as children seeing that, because you're like their superhero, you're the mum or their dad, whether you're the mum or the dad, once they see you doing all of that, they just love it. So like, I'm going to incorporate a video on the screen now when I was doing some stretching. I think I was working at Pure Gym at the time. I think I may have been playing football or something, so I need to stretch. I got the mat out to stretch, and she come running over doing all the stretches and then asking her where she's seen that, and obviously she's seen you do that. So when she's seen the mat coming out, she's used to doing it. So I feel like it's also good for kids to see that. Again, I saw you doing a lot of running. You got me my first running trainers. You got me my first running trainers at Christmas. I can't remember how old I was. And then now, every year since then, I always run on Christmas Day. No matter where I am, if I'm sick, if I'm tired, if I can't be bothered, I have to go out for a morning run in the morning. That's how I kind of fell in love with like running and fitness as well. So at the moment, what are you currently doing in terms of like training? How does your training week look like?
So my training week looks like, it depends also upon my office days as well. So what I tend to do is that the days when I go to the office, I treat them as my rest days in a way. But then the days when I'm working at home, so I tend to work at home most times 2 or 3 times a week. So the days I'm working at home, I get up the same time I would go to the office. Because a lot of people think, oh yeah, I'm not going to the office today, I'm going to get up an hour later. No, that's an hour you can be using to do something to support yourself in whatever shape or form. So in my case, get up the same time, and also it's good naturally for your body clock to get up the same time. I get up, put my running gear on, I go out for my 7 to 10K, whatever I fancy. So that's what I do on my working at home days. On a Saturday or Sunday in the morning, it depends again what my husband's doing, if he's at home or not. If he's not at home, then I will get the mat out. And that's where I probably will get the kettlebells out as well. I get the skipping rope out. So I will do some form of exercise at home. And it's true that at those moments, that's when Elisa's like, oh, mummy, what are you doing? can I come? I want to help you. And then she would want to participate. I don't let her do the kettlebells, by the way, just making that clear. but it's nice that she wants to be involved doing the poses, or if I'm doing some yoga, she wants to do them as well with me. So we do something most times together as well. But I do try to get something in by myself as well. So because I have the office, the working at home days, plus the weekends, for me personally, I can easily work out 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay, good. And I feel like that's a good balance to have as well, to still have your work-life balance, and then you're still making sure you're getting in the exercise. And like you said, just about being disciplined, getting up at early, getting that out of the way, if you can start the day, because in the evening, things might pop up, or like you might need to take Elise to the park before you know it's 9, 10. So in terms of like, even like your meals, how do you plan your meals, Annalise's meals, and then Jose, how does he plan his meals? Like, what does that look like? Do you like meal prep and stuff like that? How does that look?
So I do a lot of batch bulk cooking, which you might call meal prep then.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do is that I do online shopping, just because being a working mum, I'm working 35 to 50 hours a week. So I'm always about, how can I make my life easy and outsource things? So I think ahead about the meals I want to make. And then when I think about the meals I want to make, I'm thinking subconsciously, okay, am I going to get enough protein and carbs, fiber, vitamins out of what I'm making? So I always try and go with even meals like, even lasagna, depending on how you make a lasagna. I might make a lentil lasagna, or I might make a meat one or mix it. I'll make like a chicken type pasta baked with vegetables in it, with whole wheat pasta, for example. So I always aim to make 3 to 4 meals a week, batch cooking for all of us, basically. Okay. But then the week before, I've already thought about all the ingredients I'm going to buy for the next week ahead. So it is literally like, this week, for next week, I need to buy these ingredients, and next week I can make this, for example. And mainly me and my husband eat the same thing. And then when it comes to Alicia, because of her age, she's still a little bit, I would say, picky about what she eats.
Just for confirmation, just for the viewers, how old is she?
So she's 4.
Oh, she's 4.
She'll be 5 next year. So she's still a little bit picky about what she eats, but she's now going through this phase of eating healthy food. So now she's like, no, mummy, for dinner I want carrots with sweet corn and chicken, because I don't want chips, because chips isn't healthy. But I think this is just a bit of phase, because at school they've just done it, but I'm maximizing this phase. So we're eating more of the same foods now, but if not, I will still make her own dinner, if that makes sense. So she still eats things like, she eats a lot of egg, I would say, lots of egg, lots of pasta, tomatoes. And in Spain they have this type of long sausage called fuet. She likes this type of sausage called fuet. So there are types of like salami meats we have in Spain that she eats a lot of, which for me, I don't mind, because that's how she gets her protein intake as well. And then again, being in Spain, a bit more of a Mediterranean diet, she actually does eat quite a lot of salad as well alongside that.
That was actually my next question, like in terms of the difference between living in London and living in Barcelona. What would you say the major differences in terms of like just health and fitness in general? Is there any differences, if there is any?
I think because of the climate itself in Spain overall, we are outdoors more generally. Like we're just more outdoors people. And people say to me, like, oh, since living in Spain, you're more outdoors, which means because the weather is nice, you can do more things outdoor. Like this morning it's raining. I didn't go for a run, it was raining. Well, it doesn't rain that much in Barcelona, Spain. So when it comes to doing more things outside, I personally feel it's more easier and it's more accessible, and I feel more motivated. And because I love the good weather and the sun, during summer months, like our summertime is literally like the whole of summer, from June to October. So during those months, I feel super energized by the sun. I'm just more energized. So I'm just more motivated. Then when it comes to food, you do hear the word, oh yeah, people in Mediterranean eat more Mediterranean diet. They do, because, for example, like I have a salad, it's got olive oil on it. I'm getting my healthy fats in. The type of meats and seafoods that we eat as well. The type of diet and also the ratio of what we're eating. Like I would say we're very much focusing on, meats, seafoods, fish. And then it's a bit like the carbs, a bit like on the side.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why, maybe because of my upbringing and coming from a Jamaican culture, for me it was the reverse a bit. I always felt like when I was younger, my rice and peas plate, it was a mountain of rice and then a little bit of curry goat and chicken on top, you know what I mean? In Spain, it's the reverse, So coming from that culture, again, like I can saltfish, I would have hard food, dumpling, green banana, sweet potato. Like, that's a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
And then a bit of ackee and saltfish.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like I've gone the opposite way. And personally, for me, where I am in my life and what suits my body needs is having a more high protein diet. So when I do that and I'm listening to my body, what it wants, I've actually found it easier to maintain my weight since living in Barcelona than when I used to live here. Even after losing the weight here, again, in Barcelona, I don't even really think more about, I don't know if it's because I've been doing it for so long now. Like I've been in this routine now for 23 years now. I don't know. I think there's a lot of subconscious things that are going on with me that naturally, and when I make my meal, my plate of food, it always tends to be more on the heavy protein side.
When you say 23 years, is that 23 years since you've been like training?
Yes.
Do you, and I always ask the question as well, do you remember the first day in the gym?
Yes.
Oh, you remember it? Okay. So
I do. I remember the
Talk
first
us through
day,
that.
because the first day in the gym, I remember, I signed up for the gym and it was at Atherton. And you know, they do the induction, so they show you how to use all the machines. And I remember walking around thinking, it's a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
But the first thing I thought I wasn't dressed well. I remember I had on tracksuit bottoms and I had on this summer top, this white top, and it had sleeves. And I was thinking, this isn't really gym gear. But it was for me, that was my at that point in my life, that was the closest thing I had to exercise gear. And I remember the guy did induction. He goes, you can stay if you want. And I was a bit like, should I stay? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay. And I hopped on the cross trainer. And I was on it, and I was like, you know what? Again, I remember saying to myself, I can see myself here.
Yeah.
I remember saying it to myself, I can see myself coming back here and doing this again and again and again.
Who did you go to for a plan, like in terms of like knowing what to do? Were you training with your boyfriend at the time in the gym, or did you have a job plan?
No.
Okay, so what did you do about training trainer wise? Like, how did you know what to do?
So I don't know why. Naturally, I was a bit like, okay, I like this machine. And I just went away, like, okay, I'm going to do this one for 20 minutes. And I went home and I was like, okay, I'm going to do a bit of research. What's the benefit of using a cross trainer? What does a cross trainer really, really do? Okay, the guy gave me an induction, but what muscle groups is it really going to work? I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for 20 minutes as part of my warm-up. Then I'm going to do 10 minutes on the treadmill. Then I'm going to do the stepper. And the stepper, I fell in love with the stepper. I had my own targets on the step machine. I went a bit crazy on the step machine. And then I would go and then do some weights. But again, I don't know why, for me, naturally, I was like, I'm going to make up my own routine.
Yeah.
And then I set myself even goals. I was like, right, this month, I'm going to focus on doing workouts 3 times a week, 30 minutes. And I was like, next month, I'm going to go 35. And then next month, I'm going to do 40. So naturally, I wanted to progress. And then when I saw the weight dropping off, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love this. I'm actually enjoying myself. I feel good about myself. So those feelings that I had as a teenager about being self-conscious about myself, again, that even the slight depression about being overweight, all those feelings just started to like I'm doing this, but it just started to disappear.
Yeah. And how important would you say strength training is as you get older?
I think it's even more important as you get older. So I'm 43. And they do say once you get past 40, it's more important because as the years go on, once you get past 40, I believe you lose between 1% and 3% of muscle mass every year as a man or woman. So for me, that's why now I'm more focused on how can I build up the strength rather than less on the running. The running is still important to me, but I need to now up the game in the strength because even in myself, like as you get older, your body starts to get weaker. You're naturally just getting old.
Yeah.
So that you need to find a way to maintain that strength in yourself. And also with Alicia, like some days she's like, Mama, pick me up. And I'm like, the girl weighs 20 kg now. And I pick her up and I walk with her from the school to the house. And that's 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
And I do it without thinking about it now. And everyone's like, oh my God, how do you do that? She's heavy. But again, because I built up this baseline of strength, I'm comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's definitely important to keep up that to increase that ratio as you do get older.
So for me, like seeing you training when I was younger, you kind of made it look like easy in terms of like throughout life. But obviously there must be like struggles like throughout your life trying to maintain it. What would you say the biggest struggles are right now that you face trying to train and do everything else for other mums out there watching? And how do you overcome those struggles? Like, what would you say the 2 biggest like obstacles or struggles that you find trying to maintain at the moment? But you probably don't find that much obstacles because you've been doing it for so long. But what would you say the biggest struggles are?
Okay. But first off, I want to just focus, before I answer the question, just focus on something. So for me, this is about a lifestyle. This isn't about me doing this for 6 weeks to lose weight and move on. This is about a lifestyle. So if it's about a lifestyle, that means it needs to be embedded and incorporated into your day-to-day life.
Definitely.
So the biggest struggle I would say is time. Because I am working full time and I am a mum, I need to make sure that I have time to do those major groups of my life. And also I'm a wife, I'm a brother, I'm a sister, I'm an auntie. You know, I play various roles in my life, full stop. So it's about time. But for me, I would say that can be the biggest struggle, is the time. But I'm a firm believer of that. If you think about this again as part of your lifestyle, that, oh God, I need to get up and go and do a run, or I need to go to the gym, then it's about how you perceive what you're doing. So for me, getting up and going for a run is the same for me as washing the dishes. You know, I treat it as part of my everyday lifestyle.
It's not a chore.
It's not a chore.
Yeah.
But I would say let's say one time when Elisa didn't have school and she had no club, I was like, time was a struggle for me then, because I needed to be more present with her because I didn't have any childcare.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say time is the biggest challenge.
What about, this would be another question. What about like a mum that doesn't have that support and is maybe like a single mother? Is there anything, maybe any extra advice you would say to give, because they will let you have less support and maybe even less time? Is there, let's say for example, if you did have a client, you're not coaching at the moment, but if you did have a client that did come to you and said that, what extra advice would you give them, or recommendations if they didn't have that support?
Okay. So if they don't have any intermediate support,
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
I would say try and find support in other ways. Because, for example, I know that there are some gyms that have creches, for example.
Very good point.
Or again, even though you might not have a sister or auntie or whatever close by, maybe you've got a friend. So let's say this is a good thing about when you have friends that have other kids. So when I moved to Barcelona, I met a bunch of ladies, and all of our kids are at the same age. But let's say, for example, I wanted to go out, I would be like, Sammy, would you mind looking after Alicia? And then I could do the same for her, for example. Just use an example. So I would say, as single mums, always try and find ways even to try and extend that support, even if it isn't through blood relatives, and use that to your advantage. Or again, find groups of exercise where you can bring your kids along. Like I know in Spain, like in the beach, you see mothers and kids working out together. Like I remember after I had Elisa, they do like baby yoga classes, things that incorporate your kids into that routine. So I would go back to that, trying to find other ways to get support, also trying to incorporate your kids into the routine. Or I use the other word, outsource.
Yeah.
So if your budget allows and you can do it, try and see if you can get a babysitter that could look after a kid for an hour, or see if you can take your kid to school like earlier, breakfast club, or enroll your kid in an after school activity that would allow you then to go and do something for yourself.
That's some very good points. And also, before I got into the questions, we've got a few questions here on Instagram.
Okay.
Before we get into that, did you look up to anyone when you was when you were younger, in terms of like health and fitness? And was there anyone you looked up to?
No, to be honest, it may sound a bit, I don't know if it sounds a bit bad, but myself.
Yeah.
Because no one in particular, I didn't feel like, oh my God, like there's, I don't know, somebody out there. No, I can't. No one comes to my head. To be honest, no one comes to my head. But myself was a motivation for myself.
Yeah.
I can't describe it any more than that.
I need to actually get fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But seeing myself and watching myself transform, and also I'm very big into at that time I didn't even know it, but manifesting for myself and visualizing myself how I wanted myself to look in the future, like seeing myself like in a different view in my head. That was my own motivation. That's who I looked up to, was myself.
So the questions here that I've got,
Okay.
let me pop them up now. So the first question that I've got through my Instagram page, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram also. How did it get into, let me reword this because she's reworded this a bit weird. So how did you get into a healthy routine / lifestyle while being a mum? Because it's hard. So this is actually someone I know personally. She's a mum, and I'm 27. She's around the same age as me as well.
Okay.
So yeah, how it's hard. So yeah, how your routine and lifestyle.
So after I had Alicia, that's when I really had to like in a way reevaluate like my routine, and also look at even my husband's routine. So for me, I'll go back to the point I made before about making sure that you also have the support of your partner. That for me is super important. Like even generally, like when you're raising kids, you're in that family setup, you'll need, if you have your partner available with you, you guys need to work as one. So making sure you got that support. And also after having Elisa as well, what I did is I went back to basics a little bit. So the things that I was doing in my 20s, I was a bit like, right, okay. I think after I had Elisa again, I was probably drinking a bit more fizzy drink. Not fizzy drink, I was drinking something which we call gaseosa, which is basically similar to sparkling water, but it's got more adjectives in it. And I was like, right, I need to cut down on this gaseosa because it's making me a bit more bloated. And I realized I was eating a lot more bread than I really wanted to. It's like, right, okay, I'm going to go down to one slice of bread with my meal. Again, I just took some time to really evaluate what I was doing in my current routine and what I potentially felt I could improve upon. So that's that's the advice I would give. But I think there was more to that question.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, to be fair, you kind of hit the nail on the head because you're kind of like, how do you kind of get into a healthy routine lifestyle while being a mum? And you kind of touched on it really well beforehand as well. So hopefully when she watches this back, she kind of gets some insight.
But I would say just one extra point, is start with the basics, start slow. So sometimes I think even if you don't have kids, people are like, oh my God, I want to lose 10K and in 6 weeks, like, just, again, this isn't a race. It's not a competition. It's not a it's not a sprint. This is about you wanting to improve your health and well-being. So again, it goes back to the mentality. So go take it little by little. Again, if you've just had the baby, you've got a young kid, you got to make sure, again, you're managing the day-to-day mum responsibilities. So I would say don't overstress yourself, because when you do too much too soon, in my opinion, that's when you set yourself up to fail.
Definitely. Could end up going backwards, I think.
Exactly.
I'm not doing well.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes when you go through that period of point where you've not achieved what you wanted to achieve, or you haven't achieved the particular goals, that can affect your mentality moving forward. So you should use, I would say, I use it at work, SMART objectives.
Yeah.
You know, use objectives, again, that are going to be specific, that are going to be measurable, you know, that you can accurately measure. But the key in the SMART, it needs to be realistic.
Yeah.
And it needs to be realistic based upon your circumstances and your family.
What motivates you to run marathons?
So just to clarify, I have run half marathons and I've run one full marathon. As a person that exercises, again, I was saying before about having achievable goals, and also you need to do what you like. So for me, actually, running one marathon, that was enough. I was like, yep, I've reached my limit here. Like, boom. But what motivated me to run that marathon is because, again, I wanted to see how far I could push myself. And that for me was enough. I was like, yep, I'm done now. I'm happy to do half marathons, 10Ks, but I wouldn't do a full marathon again. But I did this to myself last year. Like, I was setting myself a challenge. Yeah, I'm gonna run 50K this week. I do these things. I'm like, I just want to see how my body would react and how far I can push myself. I don't know why. I don't know what is it, but I just feel like I want to have that personal achievement for myself. Because the thing about when you are a mum as well, you are living your life through your kid. Like, your kid is an example of your achievement, but I want something for me.
Yeah. Like
that I can feel inside, that I can feel proud of. And also at work, a lot of things I do at work are for work. I'm achieving work objectives, work for them. What about me? I want something for myself. So that's what motivates me, to be honest, is doing something that I think is achieving my own personal internal goal.
So his next question, one of my clients, he set me up because he put in Spanish, so he speaks Spanish.
Oh, did
so
you?
I'm gonna try.
Tell me the question.
I'm gonna attempt to say this.
¿Qué te pregunta en español?
Yeah.
Dime.
I don't know how to say this. ¿Qué fue lo más difficult? It looks like this says difficult in Spanish. I'm not going to try to say that. Difícil, that's it.
Okay.
De Barcelona.
What is difficult? I couldn't get the full question.
It sounds as if he's trying to say what was difficult about moving to Barcelona, like changing over to Barcelona. That's what I think.
Okay.
I'm going to have to put the thing on the screen here.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this.
But something about ¿Qué es difícil vivir in Barcelona? Or
QFUE, lo más difficult, DMUDARTE, Barcelona.
Okay, I'm not sure what the question is, but for me personally, working out in Barcelona has been a better experience because I live in a place called Badalona, in particular, and where I live, I said it before, I have this long riverside area. And what I love about it is that there are no cars that go by. It's just purely runners, people on their bikes, skateboarding. So I love the fact that I don't feel like, oh my God, I'm breathing in all of this pollution air. And again, everybody's there is doing some sort of exercise or sport.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me motivated. So for me, I don't see anything difficult about working out in Barcelona, personally, for me. I've had a great experience. I don't have anything, I wouldn't say anything is difficult about maintaining my routine in Barcelona. Maybe I will say one thing. If you are very sensitive to temperatures in August, like August, you wake up, it's 35 degrees. Imagine running 10K in 35 degrees.
Yeah.
A lot of runners, they don't run in August because they're like, oh my God, I cannot take that intense heat. So for us, it can be the opposite. Like people don't run here because it's raining or it's too cold. For us, we can't run because it's too hot.
Yeah.
Or one day I went out running and I came back and I had sunburn on my arm. And I was like, I just went out for a run. Like I didn't mean to get beaten up by the sun. So those things can make it difficult.
So funny because the next question is, can you teach Darnell un poco español? So I had to teach
Sí,
español.
yo puedo intento enseñar castellano con Darnell. Si apetece. It depende si él tenga ganas or no. So basically what I said, I can try teaching Spanish if he fancies it and if he has the desire to do so.
Guys, it's still weird for me hearing her speak fluent Spanish because I speak English my entire life and then you just come out with this fluent Spanish. Soon. We're gonna make that happen. So someone said, tell us about your Christmas runs with Darnell.
So it goes back. I would, if you don't mind, then I would tell the story about the running shoes.
Yeah.
So I remembered again at that point I was living in Walthamstow, but I felt like, you know what, I could see, because at that time you were already playing football already. And I thought, you know what, Darnell already has the baseline for running, because as a footballer you need to be able to run.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get Darnell some running shoes, and again, because we were young, I thought I'm gonna go to a running shop, do it properly, boom. So I thought, okay, get you for Christmas. And then because again, like for me, I train more or less any time of the year. Like I take rest days, but my rest days, just because it's Christmas Day doesn't mean I ain't gonna go for a run. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy them for Darnell, put them under the tree. And I was like, and then we gave them to you on Christmas morning. I was like, yeah, I'm going for a run. Do you want to come? And you were like, yeah. So that's how our Christmas morning running started. But I actually again enjoyed it, having that run with you at Christmas time. It was good fun.
I will never forget that one, and that's why it's a tradition now. And the last question someone asked, which is a good question actually, when will you introduce exercising to your daughter outside, and then they put in brackets, outside of school?
So I feel like she's already exposed. Yeah. I think just watching me already, she's exposed, if that makes sense. So so her after school activities at the moment are not, I would say, are very sport orientated. Like she does dancing twice a week. Oh, and she does swimming on a Friday. So what I've done at the moment is that I've gone for activities that she likes doing that are fun. So for her, she doesn't see it as, oh, I'm going to do an exercise class or routine. But when she was a baby, I used to carry her a lot in the we call it the kangaroo, like the baby carrier, again in the push chair. And more recently, because she has shown more interest in walking, where we live in Barcelona, like you have a lot of mountains anyway in Catalonia in Spain. So now we've got her more into hiking, light hiking, going up hills and stuff in the mountains. So again, I'm trying to incorporate in a way where, again, it's part of our lifestyle. Where it's not like, oh, okay, we're going to go and do exercise routine. So for me, she's already involved. She already has the basics, insights, and she already gets it.
Exposed to it already.
Yeah.
Cool, nice. So that's the Instagram questions out the way as well. You've got a lovely tracksuit on right now.
Yes, I just bought it when I was here.
And so do I. And you've also got the TSM bottles here as well. As you guys know, we've got the tracksuits back in stock in all sizes, along with the water bottles as well. I'm going to give a 15% discount for all of you guys tuning in right now, just to say thank you. So if you put pod15 in checkout, it's going to give you 15% off. Is there anything you wanted to add on? Or
just to say that as a big sister, I'm just super proud of my little big brother. It's true, I'm super proud of all that you've achieved so far. Like when you were younger, I saw you again getting into the fitness. You did the football, you were doing other activities. Then you went to university, at college and university, you did sports and exercise. So for me, it's really just amazing watching you evolve into the person that you've become today. And I just want to say Well done, and keep up the good work, and super proud of you.
It's full circle because it started from you. Now,
Come back.
I carried on the baton. We're still an hour running together.
Exact.
So yeah, even for me, it's good to see. But thank you guys once again for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope everyone that's listening that may be in the same position that Natasha's in, if you're a mum, or even if you're not a mum, you might even be a husband, like getting those pointers and being able to take that into your life, I think it's great, and you definitely dropped a lot of gems today. But yeah, thank you guys very much for tuning into episode 5. Yeah, thank you again.
Thank
See you guys on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Love that.